like to make it good.
I feel like sometimes we look really far apart. That's why I'm sitting closer to you.
Yeah, no, this is good. Yeah, yeah.
I have the giggles a little bit.
That's okay. It's good to get the giggles.
Yes.
I'm having a food issue, and I don't know. I don't know what it is.
All right, please elaborate.
So I love tuna fish. A lot of people don't like tuna fish. I can tell by your face you do not like tuna fish. You're in that camp. But like sometimes when I eat it, I'm fine, and then other times when I eat it, it's my body's like, oh no, this will not do.
Oh really?
And I can't figure out how I'm making it differently that makes it like my body say no bueno. So I don't know. Have you ever had a thing where like you eat the food one day and it's wonderful, and the next day your body's like, no thanks?
I've had that a little bit with eggs. It's like the only food. I'm one of those people that's lucky that hasn't had a lot of allergy stuff with foods. But I don't know. You're doing the same thing every time?
See, I don't know. I don't pay attention. I don't think I do anything that differently, but I haven't been paying attention to what specifically I'm putting in it or in what amount or, you know.
Are you making a sandwich? Is it a tuna
sandwich,
salad?
yeah. Well, I make a little...
Pita?
Oh, God, I miss pita. I don't do pita anymore because I'm gluten-free.
R.I.P. pita.
Yeah, I know. And Peta cracks me up because every time I say it, I think of Lois from Family Guy when she's talking to Peter. Peta?
Oh, I didn't watch that show.
What?
I'm sorry.
We have to have a viewing party.
Right, well,
I mean, it is funny, but after a while, you're like, this is just mean.
Yeah, well, that's like South Park and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think South Park has more of an agenda than Family Guy does, though.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't think Family Guy is that... I don't think Family Guy is as intellectual
Ralph is sitting here thinking about several Family Guy episodes.
Now I am, because they're very problematic. But what isn't problematic? So that's my week so far.
Well, maybe like literally measuring it and making sure you're using the same gluten-free bread thing, and seeing if any of that has, because maybe it has something just to do with what your body's like that day too. I don't know.
Maybe I just need to drink more water.
Maybe it's that.
Because it seems counterintuitive, but I think not drinking enough water, not being hydrated, makes you have like bad tum-tum.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say it as nicely as I can.
I'm trying to say the same thing in a way that doesn't sound disgusting, because is sometimes if that's all off,
yeah,
lots of things can irritate your stomach. So it might be more about where your body's at rather than like an allergy or what you're doing with the food itself.
Maybe I just need to give tuna fish a break.
It
is delicious and it is healthy. It's a good healthy food to eat, yes. But it is, I can see where a lot of people don't like it. Is there a food that you refuse to eat even though everybody says it's delicious besides tuna fish?
You mean try?
Yeah, or anything.
There's things I won't eat or try.
Like what?
Any game. I won't eat a duck. I won't eat a lamb. I'm not eating. I tried a buffalo once. It was disgusting. I'm not eating. I don't eat most pork products except for bacon, which makes no sense.
You're not a vegetarian, are you?
No, I just don't. I stay with the very basics.
Chicken,
beef, and seafood, I guess. And I don't really venture anywhere else. And I won't. And I won't even try it. So I guess I'm a little bit not fun that way. But yeah, foods I won't eat. Caviar I will not eat.
Caviar is delicious.
I don't like mushrooms.
Mushrooms are delicious.
There's things that people just don't like.
Yeah, that's true. Dan's the same way. He's a very specific eater when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm trying to get him. I got him to finally eat sushi.
Oh, I love sushi though.
Oh my God, sushi's the jam.
Just had it last weekend.
Maybe I'll do that tonight. That sounds delicious. Now I want sushi.
There's a really good spot near me.
Can somebody listening order us sushi, please?
Can you send it to, here's Ralph's address.
Just send it, yeah. Not falling for that one again. All right, so let's get to it. We've covered my gastrointestinal issues. I'm sure
and my food aversions.
I'm sure everybody's sick of that already. This is not a food blog. That's the other thing. Oh, I actually found out, aside, and then we'll get to what we're really going to talk about today. I finally heard why recipes online have that huge story before. Like, people are like, just show me the recipe. I don't need to read about how your mother brought it over from Spain and then she hid it in her shoe for 5 years. And it's because it gets more people to come to the, like, it's better for the SEO and like the Google and like people to come to the blog if you have the story.
I didn't know that.
Because there's more.
I don't read recipes.
Yeah.
I don't really cook. So.
I mean, it's more. It's like it helps the chef to like share their story, and it's like a blog, but also behind the scenes, it's like good for their the returns, like when people search for stuff, because there's more there, not just so. That's why if you like recipes online and you're wondering why there is that big story before everything, it needs to be there. It serves a purpose.
We give people a lot of different types of information on this podcast.
Fonts, yes, of information.
Eclectic.
Not necessarily what we plan to talk about, but so what are we talking about today? What's the question for today?
You got the question. What are you looking at me?
Because I don't want to be the ones talking all the time.
You aren't.
All right. So today the question is, and this has come up for me personally this week, because it's been a week. It has been a week. Imposter syndrome. Feeling like you are an imposter, feeling like you don't deserve what you get, and how overwhelming the feeling can be sometimes for people. So I think the question for this week is, what is imposter syndrome and what do I do when and if it happens to me?
Yes. Yeah.
So if I was your client, what would be some of the first things you would want to know about somebody's story to help them with their imposter syndrome?
Well, it often happens when somebody's new in a role. Not always. You know who's spoken about it publicly? Oh my God, Viola Davis, is that the one how the murder?
I say Viola Davis.
Viola
It
Davis.
may be.
It
I
is
don't
Viola.
know.
I said it wrong.
National
She's
treasure.
the murder. What's it called?
How to Get Away with Murder.
Yeah, I want to make sure I had the right
one of my favorite shows.
In case she's
ever.
listening, Viola. She's publicly spoken about this, which I find to be, and this is usually anyone that knows that someone's feeling this is like, oh my God, are you kidding me? You're so great at XYZ. And to me, she's like absolutely fabulous actress, and she's experienced or felt this way throughout her career. I mean, she's one of the best.
That's heartening to know that somebody like Viola Davis has imposter. Let me back up 2 steps. Maybe it would be beneficial to define what imposter syndrome is first before we dig into.
And you're going to ask me to do this now.
We can both spitball. I think between the two of us, we can come up with a suitable definition.
Okay, you're first.
I define imposter syndrome as the feeling that I do not deserve what I have. I am a fraud. Somebody's gonna find me out, quote unquote, and all this stuff that I've worked for is gonna be taken away from me because I don't deserve it. I am not supposed to be here. I am not supposed to be in this position. I am not supposed to have this role, this power, these accolades, whatever they are. They ring hollow because I don't feel like I did the work or I deserve any of the success that I've received.
Yeah, and somebody's gonna find out.
Somebody's going to find out
because I'm not really qualified. I'm just using more synonyms to what you said.
That's okay.
I'm not really qualified for this recognition, for this role, and like you said, I don't deserve it.
Yeah.
I think you said it pretty much.
And get that blank out of your head that it just happens to one subset of people. It's not just women. It's not just young people. It's not just old people. It's not a certain race or anything. It is across the board. Anybody can suffer with imposter syndrome.
And like I just mentioned, famous actress.
Yeah.
Who's won awards.
Oh my God, isn't she an EGOT?
I think she is an EGOT. Yeah. But I said that often would happen for somebody that's new in a role, which I do think, I don't have any data on that, but that would be a time where I think it would be even more likely. But I know that you were talking about it a little bit personally, however much you want to share of that. And I know I have, especially, I think it is running our own business. It can pop up real easily, real quick. But not to say it can't pop up real easily, real quick for lots of people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And excuse me, Viola Davis, as an example, just because we're using her, she's been doing what she's been doing forever.
Yeah.
She's no, like, right out of acting school with her first job in a commercial. You know, she is an EGOT, I think. If she's not, she should be. Academy Awards get on that, whoever's in charge. It can happen to anybody, and it's not just like, oh, it happened to me for like 3 months in the summer of '84, and then now I'm over it. No. Once it's there, and really all we can do is kind of turn down the volume on the voice, but it never really goes away.
Yeah, and for Viola Davis, I don't recall when I heard her speak about it if she was speaking about the past or the present. So just to clarify that, in the remote chance that she happens to listen to our podcast, but I know she spoke about it. Yeah, no, it doesn't just happen. For some people, it might just happen in one period of time, but for others, it can pop back up.
Why do you think it happens in the first place? Like, what do you think triggers it?
Same thing we always refer back to. I think our own insecurities with ourselves and not believing in ourselves and not necessarily thinking we are deserving. So it goes right back to the big SE, self-esteem.
Self-esteem, the big SE.
I don't know. I pulled that up. And then I was like, oh my God, wait, SE. I was like, oh, that's SEO. I didn't want to confuse
Oh, yeah, no.
Because we've been talking about that before.
Google. It can, I think it happens any time you have something where you're extending yourself beyond your comfort zone, I think.
Or being recognized. Beyond your comfort zone.
Yeah.
People that have a hard time taking compliments have a hard time being recognized and celebrated for their accomplishments as well.
Yeah, I have a big problem sharing a lot. It's sharing corner with Ralph.
Sharing.
I have a big problem with taking compliments. I always have to be self-detrimental and like, oh, nice beard. I'm like, oh, this thing, I'm going to shave it off tomorrow. It's dumb. Oh, God, beards. Like, I can't just say, oh, thank you. Nice. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate, oh, that shirt's great. Oh, this, I found it at a dumpster. I'm going to burn it when I get it. Like, I can't just say thank you for the compliment. I always have to berate myself to accept the compliment. Not always, but I mean, more often than not. And I think I've couched it as, oh, I'm in comedy and I'm funny. So it's just me being, funny, self-detrimental guy. But I see it for what it is. It's like, you can't take a compliment.
I am accepting new clients. Did I mention that? We can schedule.
I think we're gonna let's just make this our first session. But yeah, so I get it when the feeling of when somebody says, "Oh, nice job! You really did a great job with that." My immediate response is, "No, I don't say that. That's weird."
Right.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
Well, and typically, I'm not speaking for you.
You can.
It means that you really don't believe that about yourself. It goes back to the deservability piece.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sometimes, and it's still about you, not you, but
it's
person.
It's always about me.
Other people can spark it. I think sometimes for me, when it's come up, it's been maybe I'm at a training or I'm at a networking event and somebody's talking all their theoretical approaches and all their certifications and all their thises and all their that's, and I'm like, I got like none of those. And then I'm like, maybe I'm not, and then that'll trigger like, maybe I should be doing more, or that person's so much more qualified and you're, and that can start that off for me sometimes. I have to always check myself with that. I've gotten a lot better because I'm like, so what, they have all the certifications. Are they a good therapist? Period. Yes or no?
Yeah. I'm taking a class now. I won't specify, but if anybody in the class is listening, you'll probably know which class I'm talking about. Taught by a PhD doctor. And usually in these classes are like one, maybe two PhDs. There's like 15 PhDs in this class, and then there's me, and so people get into these discussions about books they've read and theories and like all this stuff, and like, oh, when Mondrian did that painting of such and such, and then the thing, and then this happened, and I'm over in the corner like, I have a podcast. Boop, 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 boop. Look, I'm wearing a jaunty hat today, everybody. And so, and my logical mind knows, like, that's BS. You deserve to be here just like everybody else. You're all taking the class. You're all learning something. You've all arrived where you're at to this present time. Different avenues and different paths. That's the way life is. And so you're just as deserving of being here as everybody else. And my logical mind knows that. But my silly, like, funny, emotional brain is like, let's put on a clown nose because that's my armor. That's how I get through this. Mm-hmm. And that's something big too, is we all have our different ways of blunting the sting of imposter syndrome when it pops up.
Yeah, I think it really can be hard when in what we do when people list off all this stuff. It always hits a little like nerve for me at an event where everyone's like, I'm like, that's cool. And then I do this and I'm like, that's cool. And I forget about all the cool stuff I'm doing. Yeah. Because I'm listening to everybody else, especially when like go around the room and you're listening to all these people and you're like, mm-hmm. But it's not a good space to get in, as we know, right? Yeah. It does not, and it often can be sparked, especially if you were, we're private business, small business owners, I guess we call ourselves, right? That sounds very fancy, doesn't it?
I call myself king of, yeah.
But when things maybe aren't going as well with the business, then that imposter stuff can pop up like bad.
Oh, sure.
You're more sensitive to it. Or for people that aren't running their own business, if team is performing poorly or problems with numbers or whatever the case may be at your particular position, or people are leaving or quitting, that could be when this could spark up too. It's basically all in all when things aren't going well.
Yeah. And it's hard when you're in the thick of it and things aren't going well. That's when the volume gets turned up on the imposter syndrome mm-hmm. voice. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had this happen to me this week where, you have a lull in your business. It's not where you would like it to be usually, not where it is usually. And it's very easy for that voice to pipe up and be like, see what I told you before? You don't really deserve it. Look what happened, And I think for me, and I think this is something that I would explore with a client, is don't try so hard to negate the experience or like pretend it's not happening. I think you have to acknowledge like, okay, I'm in this space now. Mm-hmm. I'm feeling these feelings. It's not about ignoring the feelings or, stuffing them in a box or whatever. It's acknowledging them and being mindful of the present of, okay, this is happening. I'm going through this, rough patch. It happens. Part of life, things like this happen. Acknowledging it, feeling the feelings, and then saying, okay, what do I have at my disposal that can help me pull out of this quicker than I would have before? Mm-hmm. What strengths do I have that I can use? What tools do I have? What resources do I have, like other people and, my circle of support? What other things do I have that I can call upon to help me navigate this?
And remind yourself, basically being able to remind yourself, that can be helpful as well. Maybe not as strong depending on how far in you are with feeling all the imposter syndrome stuff. Sure. But remembering what you have been doing, what you have been good at, how you have achieved over whatever X period of time is, sometimes that can be a little bit helpful too.
Yeah. I saw on LinkedIn, somebody posted, and I forget who they are and what the meme was, but in essence it said, if you're having a bout of, I don't you know, I'm having imposter syndrome or I'm feeling down about myself, look back at your accomplishments. Like if you're on LinkedIn, everybody on LinkedIn knows you can have those recommendations on your page.
Mm-hmm.
Look at your recommendations. Look at the nice things people have said to you. Look, you know, reread thank you notes that you've gotten. Reread nice emails that you've gotten from people that you've helped. We have a tendency to think that doing that is bad for some weird reason of like, we can't take a minute to pat ourselves on the back or, you know, remember, oh, look at all these accomplishments I've had, or look at all these people I've helped. Look at this one person that I've helped.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent this really like nice note to me. It's okay to, you know, not live in the past completely, but it's nice to revisit that when you need to and say, oh, absolutely. You know what? I did do all this good stuff. Look at all these people who I've helped and say nice things about me.
Right. What I do, it's not rare, but definitely not common to get a written something or a whole lot of feedback all the time of how great of a job or how great you helped someone, how much you helped someone. So I have been lucky enough to get some of those emails over the years, and it's been really amazing when it happens, but trying to remember that in those moments. Look, you might need to bring out Mom's Christmas card. She might have written a nice little love encouraging note.
Your mom sent me the best Christmas card.
My mom buys great cards, and she writes little notes. I'm more known for the notes and the cards, but that's kind of my thing.
You told me that before.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you. I call them love notes. And you're gonna get a love note.
Oh, I love that. I'm not a card guy because I don't think I've ever been the person that I always feel weird just buying a card and like putting an envelope and giving it to somebody. I'm always like, I want to spend time with you. Like if you're my friend and we care about each other, yeah, the cards and stuff are great, but let's have a glass of wine. Let's spend time together. Let's hang out. Let's, you know, exchange gifts and like talk. I think that's the real present, and that's the real, you know, I'm going totally off topic and on a tangent, but yes, I will give cards if and when necessary, but I really like, I don't know. I like stuff that's a little more like you do with the long notes. Like that
for me, it
feels
just,
like,
I didn't mean to cut you off. For me, it's more of an extension of what is already going on, though, because the people that I'm doing that with are people I'm very close to and very connected to and that I spend time with. And it's not, some of them are further away. We connect on our own way, and some of them are right here. And it's just my thing. I think I got it from my mom a little bit because she's always into cards. She still is into cards. So they got very expensive, though, so I don't want to go off another tangent, but they are very pricey now. Cards are very expensive.
Make your own. We all know how to make a card. Make your own card.
I do not have imposter syndrome around my card picking / writing abilities.
Well, I mean, from what you've said, you're like top tier.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Top shelf card giver. We digress.
As always.
Right. But that actually, no, not really, because that actually could be another nice way to overcome imposter syndrome is to reach out and connect with somebody about a nice accomplishment or achievement that you did together or something, or something that you enjoy about them. Hey, I just wanted to reach out and say thanks for, you know, when you helped me a couple months ago with my car. I thought that was really nice. That could be a nice way to kind of not necessarily change the subjects, but like tap into a reservoir of positivity that you have at your disposal that could turn the voice down on the imposter syndrome too. I don't know. What do you think about that?
No, I definitely think that. I think part of what is helpful is trying to figure out what has triggered the volume to go up. Because it could have nothing to do with what is in front of you. Meaning, for instance, if you're feeling insecure in other areas of your life, like let's say somebody's feeling insecure within a romantic relationship, for example, for whatever reason, that can leak into other stuff, especially if it's not perfect, which I put in quote. I'm kind of doing a half quote thing, but you know what I mean. I don't want to spill the wine, and then
please don't.
This little guy was there.
Yeah, Mr.
That it is helpful to kind of figure that out, because it's not always what I said initially, that something's going not great with the business part. So you're feeling, sometimes it can be other areas of your life are feeling very uncertain and insecure, and then it can leak into that professional, and vice versa. If you're feeling really insecure and you're feeling like an imposter in your professional world, it can leak into your personal relationships.
Yeah.
You see how I did that?
Look at that.
I did a connect the dots there.
So good.
Bow.
Pow! Kapam! Yes, and I think that's a point worth repeating is sometimes we think the different aspects of our life are siloed off from each other. You know, there's my work self, and then my personal self, and then my relationship self, and then they're all connected. They're all holding hands and talking to each other. So they're not partitioned off at all. So like you said, if you're having a crappy day at work, it's going to bleed into other stuff. Like you may not want to go to the gym after work, and then your health suffers because you don't feel like, you know, going for a run or eating healthy. And then maybe your personal life or your relationship where you'll be like, no, I don't want to talk about it. And it may start a little fight with somebody you love and care about. It's all connected, you know? So thinking of it that way and being mindful of it ripples out, you know, one thing that happens in one aspect is going to affect other things, I think is helpful. So it's not a surprise.
No, and I think that if you're feeling insecure within your, I forgot what I was going to say a little bit. I'm kind of sort of trying to piece it together now. If you're feeling insecure within a relationship, then it might be translating that within your work relationship, like your work situation too, of like feeling insecure with your ability to do that. Like, if I can't do this in this relationship and I'm failing, then maybe I'm really not that good at this too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it can make you question your abilities everywhere.
Yep. And
then see, that's the slippery slope that imposter syndrome is like the icy patch on the downhill, you know.
Yep.
It can accelerate you rolling down the hill. It's a nice lubricant.
Yes.
Imposter syndrome. And so it can, you know, that voice can be like, oh, maybe you're not good in other parts of your life too. And then it's very easy to listen to that. Why do we always believe the negative voice more readily before the positive voice?
That's a good question.
Right?
Yeah.
It took us 27 minutes to get there, but we got there.
I think, I know I say the same thing all the time. I think it's a lot of us are walking around with not really strong self-confidence and a solid self-concept. I'm not saying everyone, and I'm thank God, I hope not, but just.
When you say self-concept, because there's something there. What do you mean when you say self-concept?
I'm going to throw that word around a little bit loosely, but I really just meant our relationship with ourselves. If it's easier for us to always believe the negative, then we don't either feel deserving of the positive, or we don't believe it. Like, we don't believe it from other people because of what we see in ourselves, if that makes sense. So the negative narrative and the self-criticism is all around, not all around because it's generalizing, but especially when we say people think this of us, or somebody might not like me because of this. That is turn around and look right at yourself. That's all about how you see yourself, and you're afraid everyone else is going to see.
Right. Everyone
else is going to see what I see. So it's like I'm losing my train of thought.
If I may.
Yeah, please do. I'm passing the baton now. Quickly.
It's on fire.
Yes.
It's fiery baton coming my way. I see that, and I keep that in mind when I see somebody being really nasty to somebody else, or making fun of them, or you know, berating somebody for something. I think, you know, you're that old saying, you know, for the one finger you're pointing at somebody else, there's three pointing back at you. You know, you're seeing something in that other person that you don't like about yourself. Mm-hmm. And so you want to attack it because to throw people off the scent, or
I think so.
Right? So it's like, if that kind of makes anybody feel better when they are getting attacked or berated for something, a lot of it really has to do with the person doing the berating and the attacking.
It made me, I had a random thought right now. It made me think of this woman. I was just talking about her again recently, where I was driving and I was in the wrong lane because I didn't know where I was going. And so I needed to get to the lane next to me. So I kind of just nudged the front of my car out a little. She went bananas. Like, she was going, like I had hit her car and killed her puppy. I mean, she was going screaming through the window.
Ooh.
And we're at a red light, by the way. No one's going anywhere. I'm just sort of right there, trying to, when the traffic moves. I didn't even know what to do. I literally just looked at her like,
you okay?
I don't know what's
you need a candy bar?
I can't. I'm going to let you work that out.
Yeah.
And she was just still going bonkers. And I was like, wow, something is really going on there with her.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to even make a face. I'm going to give her my best poker face, which is not great. There might have been a little bit of a stink eye involved, but I was just trying.
Totally valid.
And then the next person just let me in. I was like, none of that had anything to do with me.
Absolutely nothing. Yeah.
Something was really going on there for her, and I hope she's better now.
Yeah. Yeah, all the weird, like, nasty videos I see on the internets or TikTok or Instagram or whatever.
Did you say internets?
Internets. I'm old.
We're in our 40s.
I'm old.
Yes,
I pluralize everything. The internets. I keep that in the back of my mind of, like, this person has a lot of stuff happening in their life, and they feel like they need to take it out on somebody that's not the person they're taking it out on. They had nothing. It's usually a stranger. Like, you don't know this person, right? And we're getting off topic about imposter syndrome, but I think it's necessary because that can, maybe somebody has the response to imposter syndrome of having the pendulum swing too far to the other side and being mean to somebody, so that could happen as well. And again, it's not about that other person. It's about you and what you're seeing in other people that you don't like about yourself.
Yeah, I think it can go either way if it's not checked. It can go being mean and projecting your own stuff onto someone else, or it can go where you're overly accommodating and kind of almost trying too hard to keep everyone happy so no one sees that you really aren't as good as you think you are.
Right. And so nobody sees made me think of what you think is like a glaring thing about yourself, maybe something that literally nobody else around you sees. Like, we're so far into our own forest that we don't see, for what it really is. I mangled that saying, I'm sorry. But what I see about myself of like, oh, I don't like my collarbones. I don't, but it's okay. They're cute. They're all right. They're passable. And literally nobody else around me is being like, look at Ralph's collarbones.
I've never said that about anyone.
They're
or even
wonky.
Thought that about anyone.
Right, exactly. Because it sounds silly and ridiculous, but in our brain, it's like, oh my God, my collarbones.
Yeah.
Somebody is going to berate me about my collar. Literally nobody.
The only person is you.
Right. If anybody out there's listening and think you have weird collarbones, literally nobody thinks you have weird collarbones.
So yeah, if Ralph was to be hired as a collarbone model, he would definitely have imposter syndrome about it.
I turned some offers down. I was going to be the biggest collarbone model in the world. I was on track.
I didn't even think about a collarbone. Okay, I'm not going to try to discuss your
necklaces,
things.
Right?
Are you wearing
earrings? No, I'm talking about.
Like this is what you're wearing?
No.
Like an open shirt with a necklace and earring?
No, I wish. YouTube has standards. No, but like, a model, if you're modeling earrings or, jewelry or necklace or something, your collarbones right there. Gotta have good collarbones. Photogenic collarbones, Anyway, this has gone so far off the rails. We're out in the middle of the lake now. We're not even on a train anymore. What were we talking about? Imposter syndrome. Yeah. I have to get myself mentally back on. Now I'm stuck on collarbones. Man.
Well, maybe we've wrapped it up, Ralph. I don't know.
I do want to cover what people can do. You know, say you're having a bout of imposter syndrome, which I had a little bit of this week, got through it. For me personally, it was revisiting all the good stuff that I've done. Mm-hmm. You know, reading recommendations, reading reviews from people who have had positive experience with me. I also, tip number two, not a trick, a tip. I have a Mac, and it has the digital sticky notes on it, so you can
love those.
Do you have those on your? Okay, great. So it's not just Mac; it's Windows too. I have a sticky note on my desktop, a digital one, and on it I've written all of my strengths.
I love that.
Right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because I do VIA strengths. Shoot, I forget what the VIA stands for. Values in action. But it could just be via, like, by way of. I will put the link in the show notes. It's a free survey you can take, and it tells you, it's a list of 24 strengths, and it tells you your top 5 strengths right now at this moment, and then your bottom and, like, in the middle. And it's a really good snapshot of, like, oh, here's the good stuff that I'm doing right now. Here's the strengths that I encourage everybody to do VIA strengths, because I do it like once a month. I try to ish, because it gives you a good snapshot of where you're at right now. Mm-hmm. And so I have my top 10 strengths on a little sticky note, and that way I see it every day, and I can remind myself, oh, right now my top strength is appreciation of beauty and excellence.
That sounds beautiful.
Right?
I love it.
And it's seeing the good in things. It's seeing the beauty in everything, and wanting to bring the beauty out of things around you, and the excellence. And I'm like, it may sound silly of like, what is that a strength? How is that, you know? But if you think about it, that can inspire me to dig deeper into something and help somebody with what they're going through, or like be a better version of myself to help other people be the best version of themselves. So in all the strengths, you there's like a few different ways you can look at it, but those are 2 things that I did this week to kind of help me pull myself out of my imposter syndrome funk. And again, it's just it's not discovering anything new. If you notice, it was recommendations people already wrote. I didn't have to go look for them. They're already there on my website. And the strengths I already possess. It wasn't something that I had to go out and get a new strength somewhere that didn't exist. I'm already doing it. So it's just reminding myself of positive things that are already happening. Mm-hmm. What kind of tool would you recommend for somebody?
I think that's the top one for me. Is number one, you have to recognize what's going on. For anything, you're like, okay, this is where I'm at. I think you said that, but I'm saying it again. So, and then being able to do what you just said. And then I think coming up with whatever's going on that's sparking it to the volume to go up. What can I do? What concrete things can I do to try to improve the situation at hand here to get better for me? So it might be steps or action steps or things that you can do that would take you to where you need to be. So if it's, I don't have enough clients right now as I would like to have, maybe it's 4 or 5 things that you can be working on over the next week that could be steps towards improving that. Or if you're in an office and your team isn't performing well, or numbers, things I mentioned earlier, what are the couple things that you can do in the near future that can address that issue? I think that's empowering, and that's making you feel like you're taking charge and you're coming up with a plan, and that can kind of hopefully combat some of that negative thinking and that insecurity and I'm not deserving, when you feel like you are coming up with a plan and you are taking charge and you are executing XYZ Doesn't mean it's going to be solved right away, but the act of being able to get to a space where you can come up with a plan to address some of the things that are concerning to you, I think is the other piece of that.
And also, if it's a work thing and you feel like your spot on the team is in question, or you feel like your contributions to a project are in question, I think the best thing to do is, you're fine, is to ask. Like, reach out and get the fact. Like, a lot of times we assume a ton of stuff when it comes to imposter syndrome. And getting the actual facts of a situation can go a long way for turning the volume down on the voice of imposter syndrome. So if it's something at work and you have that relationship with your team leader, with your team members, if you're the leader with your group, you know, and just reach out and say, hey, I'd like to bend your ear for 5 minutes about how you think everything's going. How do you think I'm doing? You know, is there anything I'm missing? Is there anything, or, you know, if you're the leader, are there any tools that are missing that you all need? Is there any information that you're missing? That can go a long way to, first of all, reassuring yourself, okay, everything is going good. I don't have to worry about this like I am. And if there is something where somebody says, you know what, actually, yeah, could I talk to you about XYZ?
Yeah.
At least you know now, and you can have the conversation. You get them the tools they need, you get the answer you need, and then it's like, okay, I can use this. It's not these weird, like, nebulous emotions and assumptions that really do feed into our imposter syndrome. It's more of like, okay, I have the facts now. These are not in question. Now I can actually use these to build, like you said, build steps forward to move myself down the field.
And I think that could apply to personal relationships as well.
Oh, sure.
If you're feeling, I guess it's possible, right? As an imposter within a personal relationship who doesn't deserve, and you're feeling some insecurities or whatever, going to whoever it is and addressing it straight up, just like you said. Then you can kind of know where it stands and know where, if there is areas that need work. So I think it can apply to both. Yeah.
And if you're somebody who doesn't feel comfortable doing that and you feel like, oh, this is confrontation, I'm not good with confrontation, how could somebody reframe that in a more positive way so they don't feel like it's confrontation and it's more of a positive thing?
What jumps in my head first is just going to the person and saying, in whatever, not this wording necessarily, but just how do you think this relationship is going? So how are you feeling about our friendship right now? Do you feel like we're getting closer, or that this is what you anticipated it would be? Or if it's a romantic relationship, checking in with the person, just generally speaking. So it's not confrontational. You're just like, I wanted to just check in with you to see how you think things are going.
Yeah. Opening yourself up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that kind of answers.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. How do you think our friendship's going so far?
Amazing.
Oh, yay. I don't feel like an imposter anymore.
It's only gotten closer since we started doing this wonderful podcast.
I love it.
Yes.
And Mr. Domo loves it too.
Oh my God, I love him.
People on the podcast cannot see, but go to the YouTube channel and you'll be able to see these mugs in person.
I'm strangely intrigued by him. I've talked about him already once.
I have to put him in the show notes too. So if anybody wonders why we talk about Mr. Domo sometimes,
he's really cute.
You'll be able to visit his website. Okay, I think we've solved imposter syndrome.
Yep, everybody, we have solved it.
And if Viola Davis is listening, please be a guest.
Yes.
I would fanboy out of my mind if I got to speak to Viola Davis. I probably couldn't even talk,
and that's very rare.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It would be so great. How to Get Away with Murder is one of my favorite shows ever.
Yes.
So good.
Amazing.
Anyway, all right. That's it for this episode.
Yep.
Lot more coming this season. A lot more guests, a lot more fun. So thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for watching if you're watching on YouTube. And we will see you next time.
See you next time. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.